I'm Tracy Madsen, certified professional dog trainer. Sorry, I'm a minute late. I'm trying to get the camera to work and my camera's not working. So I have to just use my computer camera and it's a little dark, but it'll work for now. So hope everybody's doing well. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. And when you log on, please put your name and state or country so I can enter you into our drawing. Hi, Julie. So I'll be writing names down. Sorry if you can hear Jade in the background. She is chewing on a bone right now. Hi, Emily. Hi, Travis. Olson. Travis, remind me where you're from. I can't remember. If I remember, aren't you from Canada? Are you the one from Canada? Okay, let's see. So I've logged on and logged back in like 3 times and I can't get the camera to work. The light's on, but it's not. Yep, that's what I thought. Canada. I'm always so happy when I actually remember something because I have over 50 brain and COVID brain and brain fog and all that stuff. So when I actually remember something, that makes me very happy. I'm trying to fix the light in here and see if I can make this better. Okay, Kelly. Kelly, where are you from? Okay, Travis, why would my dog Mickey constantly bark whenever I either do something like exercise or taekwondo? I do know this may be new to her and she wants to join me, but how do I train her to be calm? For instance, when I was on the trampoline with my niece and nephew jumping, she barked constantly while jumping like a maniac when she was outside. So I'll answer that part first. She probably just thinks it's play. And it's just like an activity that like she can't get to. Like sometimes if I do like try to do aerobics or something in my house and I'm moving a lot and jumping around, the dogs think it's a game and they think it's fun. So they'll bark. One thing that you can do is do mat work or place work. So actually, I can take this camera off since it's not working. So you can do like a go to your place or go to your mat and then work on a settle. So like right now, because I'm doing this, let me see if I can show you. So Jade's on her mat, chewing on an antler. And it just kind of, not that she would bark at me while I'm doing this, but you could do the same type of thing, like have your mat and then teach your dog like a go to your mat and then give the dog something to do like a stuffed Kong, an antler, something like this, and let them chew on that while you're working out. Another thing you can do, if there's a lot of stuff going on, you can always crate the dog. So like if you're jumping on the tramp or when I do, like if I try to do yoga and if I'm down on a mat, all my dogs are right there and want to like lick my face and everything. So I actually either have to put them outside or crate them when I do that. So if I'm down like doing Pilates or yoga or something like that, I usually have to crate or just put them outside. Let them go play outside while I do my thing. So yeah, I would do that or teach them a nice settle. Like right now, she got tired of her treat. So now she's just settling on her mat. Good girl, Jade. She's usually super hyper. So I'm actually really happy that she's just, I'm going to treat her. I'm actually going to just treat her right now for being calm on her mat. Good settle. So yeah, you could do something like that. second part, another thing I've noticed, let's see. If I put Mickey in the neighbor's yard to play with their dog, she is fine and plays well if Mickey sees me. But when I leave her alone to play with the dog, she goes and sits at their gate and waits until I come back. That might just be like an insecurity thing. And it could be a little bit of like separation anxiety type of stuff too. Two of the dogs that I had with me this week, board and train, one is still with me. He will absolutely not eat unless I'm there with him. Even if he can see me, he won't eat unless I actually go in the kitchen and hang out with him while he eats. So it could be kind of a separation thing. So I'm not exactly sure how to fix that. You could put your dog like in the yard and then like just kind of leave for a second and come back. So do the same kind of protocol that you would for separation anxiety, like leave and come back and then leave for a few more seconds, come back, so that your dog gets used to playing in the neighbor's yard and can play and have fun and gets used to you kind of like disappearing for a second, coming back. And at first you don't even have to leave the gate. Like you can walk to the gate, come back, or then like walk behind a tree or the house or whatever, then come back, and just make it really nonchalant. So like when you leave, no big deal. When you come back, no big deal. I would try that. And if she's sitting by the gate waiting, try to come back while she's still playing. So if you can get her engaged in play to where she doesn't really notice you leave, then kind of leave for a few seconds, come back, and then leave for a little bit longer, come back, and try that. The flight recall that you told me about, when she sees other dogs in the yard, how can I develop a plan to control that behavior? Yes. So with the flight cue, you're going to start with something low value. So I usually will use a water bottle, and I will set it, like I'll set it down. I'll have the dog go to like sniff it or check it out. And right when they go to sniff it, then I'll say retreat. And I throw the treats behind them so that their head flips around and they go to get the treats. And then the whole time they're going to get the treats, it's like, oh yeah, good job, good job, good job. And it's like really high fun, high praise, high treats, stuff like that. What are you doing? She just randomly decided to go in her crate. So then you can start to work on distance. So then like having the dog go further. So rather than just throw the treats behind the dog, then you say retreat, and then like run with the dog, and then throw the treats. And I would start inside first, so she gets to the point where when she hears your flight cue, which yours might be different because I use retreat, but other clients of mine have used like party time, whatever you want to use. But when they hear the word retreat, then you want their head to literally, like they're here and they hear retreat, you want them like, boom, like their head just goes the other way, and then they run. So I teach it inside first, and then I will start to increase the value of of what I'm having them sniff. So first it's a boring water bottle. Then I might have them, like I might put a bag of Pup for Training treats down and have them just go up to sniff the bag and then do the flight cue. And then I might use a bone or something else and just get them to retreat. And then you can start side where you have more distractions, and then eventually like have a dog walk by from a distance and do the flight cue. So you're gradually building up to like your dog, but you want to start with a low distraction area, and then build up to outside and build up to having a dog. Um, let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, if you can remember to email me, because I won't remember by the time I get home, I will send you the flight queue, and it's pretty self-explanatory. And then yeah, just email me at Tracy with an I at pupford.com, and it doesn't have to be long. Just send me flight queue. Okay, so Mickey's recall is doing great everywhere. I think because I found the perfect reward, and that's beef heart. Oh, that's awesome. So that's what I use, something like that for my flight queue. But I would also use that for recall or leave it. So it's really, really high value. So what you could do is use your beef heart for recall. And then I just bought something like super disgusting at the grocery store, but I bought gizzards. And that's what I'm using for my recall and leave it now, because I use bacon for my flight queue. But you called her off of a dead cow, which is amazing. So that's awesome. So you have a really good recall when you can call your dog off of a dead cow. And then how do I train recall around wildlife? So that's hard because it's live and sometimes they move. So I always teach it on leash first. So like when I go hike with my dogs, if they don't have a really good recall, I will put a long line on them so that they still have like 30 feet to roam, explore, play. But then if we see wildlife, then if they don't come, I can reel them in, make it super fun, and then give them their gizzard. So yeah, I start with on leash first and then graduate to off leash. In fact, when you send me the email, ask me to send you my handout on recall, because it talks about the steps that I do. So I usually start with a 6-foot leash, and then 15 or 20, then 30, then I have them drag a leash. And I start like at home, and then in the yard, and then a little bit more distracting, and then, we'll go hike. I've kind of started to keep my dogs on a long line though, because where I live right now, they have had spottings of bobcats, cougars. We always have elk and deer. And so for me, it's not worth the chance of having my dogs get killed or hurt. So I would rather just have the hassle of having a long line on them until they have a really good recall. So we've never seen a bear in the wild, but we have seen a bobcat before, and we have seen like elk and deer. So usually, so my 3 pit bulls are afraid of my cat. So usually if they see something big like that, if I just use my hey, leave it, they will. Because they're like, oh my gosh, that thing's big. But I worked with a dog yesterday. It was a German Shepherd, and that dog has a super high prey drive. So for that dog, he loves to chase deer and chase and chase and chase. So it's like, you guys can't leave him out in your yard unattended without a leash, because if he sees a deer, and where I live, like deer come out into their yard and stuff, like this dog's going to be gone. He's going to go chase them. And then remember, he's going to get rewarded for chasing. So it's going to get reinforced. So that's the problem. So yeah, I would do a long line until your dog has a really, really good recall, and then start to trust him off leash. And you can ask me a long list of questions anytime. It's great. And they're all really, really good questions. So Okay. Oh, Kelly, this is a great question. Okay. My puppy is really shy to new people. He hides behind me when people try to pet her. Um, so yesterday and today, I worked with really shy dogs. So shy, fearful dogs. They were both rescues. Two of them were like semi-feral dogs, street dogs. The other one was a blue tick hound that had been really abused, and super shy. So what I do is I don't ever like try to pet a dog. I allow the dog to come to me if they want. If they don't want to, I don't make them. So yesterday I was able to pet the hound dog. Today I was able to pet one of the two dogs. The other one, I finally got her to come take treats out of my hand, but I was never able to pet her. However, I toss treats to her. So first I just toss treats, and then I'll get them. So then I'll put a treat in my hand and allow them to come take a treat out of my hand. I tell people, and it's totally fine to tell people, like, she's really shy. Here's a treat. Just hold out your hand and see if the dog wants to come and take the treat. If she doesn't, don't make her, because that means she's too scared. And we always want to give the learner, which is the dog, choice and control over their environment. So we don't ever want to force them to have people pet them or to go say hi if they don't want. So I was finally able to hold my hand, and then as soon, and with shy, fearful dogs, I never reach over their head to try to pet. Once they take the treat out, I'll slowly start to pet them under their chin. And then if they back away, I let them back away. So it's really important that we go at their pace, give them the option to move away if they're not comfortable, and kind of do it that way. So if a dog is, and depending on how big your dog is, if your dog's little and she's behind you, it is okay to pick your dog up. But if you pick your dog up, don't let people reach for her and pet her. Just like pick her up, but don't baby her, don't coddle her, because then dogs will get what's called learned helplessness, where they just kind of shut down and they can't cope with anything. But it is okay to like pick her up and just hold her and just say, oh, she's really shy, don't try to pet her. But you can have them hold a treat out, and allow the dog the option to take the treat if she wants, but also allow her to say, I don't want to, and then that's fine too. Anita. Hello, Anita. Oh, okay, Travis, that's a good question. So I do teach a recall. The flight cue is more for when the dog starts to react, because a recall, you just want them to come. But if a dog starts barking at something like another dog or a person, and so they're like going over that threshold, you want something stronger than a recall. And when a dog is reacting, we want to teach them to choose flight, fight. And by fight, I mean either barking or, a fear bite or anything like that. So the flight cue is stronger than a recall. A recall is just like, okay, come back and get a treat. The flight cue is like, turn 180 degrees and have the best party and treats ever. So it has to be more reinforcing for the dog than barking at whatever they're barking at. So does that make sense? So dogs that bark at the front door, that go crazy at the front door, I would use a flight cue and teach, rather than just a recall, because if you say like, Rover, come, they're going to be like, can't listen, like they can't hear you. So at that point, if you use your flight cue, they're like, oh, that's like Thanksgiving, or it's like Christmas. So it gets their attention, and they know that they're going to get the best party and treats ever. So that's the difference. It's a little more than a recall. And that's when you use your super high value treats that your dog never gets any other time. So I use that at the door when dogs are barking. I use it for dogs that are fence fighting. So if there's a dog on the other side of the fence and they're barking at each other or fence fighting, then you can use retreat and have them like move away from the fence and get their gizzard. Or you could take like throw it in the lawn and say go hunt, and redirect them to doing some other activity that's more reinforcing than what they're doing. So that, does that make sense? So that is a great question. I get asked that a lot. So yeah, recall is just recall to me. Flight cue is more forceful. And it has to be more reinforcing, and it has to be a word that they associate with. So like, if with a little kid, if I say like Christmas, they're like, oh, I love Christmas. So it has to be like that. It's more fun than like if I say, oh, it's Veterans Day. So everybody's like, oh yeah, I get it off school, but I don't get presents, and we don't have trees, and we don't get yummy food. So it's that really, really reinforcing word that means super good treats and lots of party. Okay, so Jeff, I need you to email me because I won't remember and I don't have your email address. So if you email me at, I'll just type it in right now, Tracy@pupford.com. Email me and just say that same thing, handout on recall, and I will send it to you. Okay, Anita, how can we stop our dog from getting overexcited when friends come over in our yard? It says she waits for the command with us. Is that waits? She waits for the command? But when so excited, she's over the norm. She actually went through the screen door and destroyed it. Holy cow. I mean, it's possible that she didn't see the screen, or it could be that she was just like so hyped up that she went into the screen. Now that is when I would use a flight cue. If your dog gets that excited when friends come into your yard, that is when I would use a flight cue. When a dog is going to go through the screen and go over the top, that's when I would use that. And again, I work on it almost every day with the high value treats, because when my dog hears that word, I want their head to flip and then go the other way. So, and the same thing, email me, have me send you the flight cue, I will send it to you. Oh, so Travis, I get what you mean. So how can you train around things like bears, rabbits, etc.? I mean, you really can't. I train around, I mean, where I go, I know we're going to probably see squirrels, and we're going to see maybe a porcupine, probably a skunk, probably a deer. So I train on a long line around that. I'm honestly hoping that I don't ever have to train around a bear, because I would probably freeze and probably pass out. And then the bear would get me. But I do train around anything that we see. So first, when we go out, I will just practice random recalls with no distractions. I mean, when you go up in the mountains, there's going to be a ton of distractions anyway. So you're going to be practicing with squirrels, chipmunks, like whatever your dog can smell, deer poop, other dogs that they're going to be able to smell. So practice on like a 15-foot leash. And what I do is I call my dog, reel them in if they don't come on their own, give them a treat, and then say, okay, go play or go sniff. And so we just keep doing these random recalls where they come back, get something, and then they go again. I think Jade's tired. She's like in her crate sleeping. She usually doesn't do that. She usually lays over here. like I said, I've had 2 board and trained puppies this week, and she has played and played and played. She's like exhausted. So getting back on track. So I will teach it on, and then, practice around things that I know we're going to see. Like, we always see jackrabbits, deer, like stuff like that. Cows, they have free range cows that go where we hike. But I do practice on leash first. And once I can call my dog off of everything like that, like moving rabbits, moving deer, and I don't have to reel them in with the leash, then I'll start to trust them off leash. Because if you can call them off of like a moving deer or an elk, then you're probably going to be able to call them off of a rabbit or a bear. So, and if you're worried about that, of not being able to call them off, depending on your dog and depending on the prey drive of your dog, then I would just keep them leashed. So if I have a dog that I don't trust their recall, then I will just keep them on a long line. And yeah, it is a pain because sometimes, they go through sagebrush and it gets tangled and you have to do all that, but it keeps them safe. And I don't want to get a ticket for having my dog chase wildlife, because we get tickets for that. So yeah, you could do that as well. But yeah, there's going to be certain things where you just can't, you can't train for everything. Luckily, when we saw the bobcat, I had my dog on a leash because I knew there was a lot of moose around the area where we were going. And so just because there are a lot of moose and I didn't want my dog to get trampled, just in case, I had him on a leash, and we had a bobcat running down the hill and ran right in front of us. My dog probably would have chased it. He was my search and rescue dog and super high prey drive. And I doubt I would have been able to call him off of that. So luckily I had him leashed. Okay, Anita just had her yard remulched and our dog is eating it. How do I stop that? Ironically, dogs just like mulch. I don't know why. I would practice a leave it, and then make sure that the reward is better than the mulch. You might spray some of the mulch with like vinegar, bitter apple, Tabasco. Just make it really icky so that then your dog associates like the mulch with the really bad taste. You could try that. I would do it sooner rather than do that, because the more your dog practices eating mulch, the more they're going to want it. I don't think mulch really hurts them, but I don't know for sure. You would probably want to ask your vet. And the other thing is, let's see something. There it is. I'm looking for my chapstick. So and it depends on the breed too. If you have a really, and honestly, I can't remember what breed of dog you have. If it's a really small dog, I would be more worried about a larger piece of mulch, like not being able to pass. Whereas like my big dogs, they'll eat like smaller pieces of mulch and it doesn't really hurt them. But again, it also depends on if you have mulch down and you spray for weeds so that weeds don't come up through, then yeah, the mulch could be bad for them if it's got chemicals on it. So I've also noticed that if I practice leave it with something specific, so like if I go to a client's house and they're like, my dog keeps trying to eat socks, so we will actually practice leave it with socks. And we do it enough until the dog doesn't even want to go up to the sock, because they're like, okay, I know I can't have that, so I'm not even going to go up to it. So maybe walk around and specifically practice leave it with the mulch, and then make the reward better. Or if your dog goes to eat the mulch, do leave it and then throw treats behind your dog into the lawn, go hunt. So the reward for leaving the mulch is we get to go play the go hunt game. And that's going to be more fun and reinforcing than eating the mulch. Okay. Travis, yes, that's why you train with toys or remote cars. Yes. And you know what else? You can get, we used to do this at the rescue. We had these little wind up like mice or rats or something to see like if a dog has a prey drive. But you could actually get a toy like that that moves and practice calling your dog off of something that moves. That's actually a great idea. You remind me. Yeah, so train with, so when I train with Jade, like she loves stuffed animals. So I will purposely train her around stuffed animals just so I can practice a good leave it with her. But yeah, you can get like, I'm sure now they have like all kinds of toys. Oh, Jade, it's not food, it's just Excedrin. I'm sure they have like toys that move or make sounds and stuff like that. And yeah, you could absolutely train around that. When I do like rattlesnake training, I usually do like use sheds for the smell. And then I'll use a fake snake, like just a rubber snake, and make sure that I can call the dog off of it. And then I might have somebody like tie a string on like fishing line that the dog can't really see too well and then make the snake move. So yeah, you can be creative. Get a small bear stuffed animal or something like that and train with that and make sure. I have to tell you a funny story. I had my very first two pit bulls. I actually had one on leash and one off leash. And I couldn't see the one, and he was down following a skunk around, but he was sniffing its butt like it was a dog, and he was just getting sprayed and sprayed and sprayed. He had chunks of yellow stuff on his face. And I was telling him, leave it, and he wouldn't leave it. My other dog, like, pulled so hard, she broke her collar, which was a good leather collar. She broke it. She also didn't do a leave it, and she went and killed the skunk. It was awful. So yeah, that's why you do want to train with stuff like that. I don't think my dogs now would do that, but my first pit bull was so friendly. He loved he would try to sniff the butt of a chicken. He would, go lick baby cows. Like, he was so social and so gentle. So when he saw a skunk, he's like, oh, a new friend. I'm going to go follow it around and sniff it. And he got sprayed several times. Okay, so the flight cue is like another version of a key. Yeah, it's different than a recall though. So recall would be if a key is your recall, meaning like here or come here. So let me explain it this way. So my recall, if I say come, that means my dogs come to me and sit in front of me and get a treat. So they just come back to me, get a treat. But that's like if they're going to go over and roll in poop, or they're going to go eat horse poop, or we see a dead carcass or something. If they go bark at the fence because my neighbor's mowing his lawn, or somebody knocks at the door, or they see another dog and they're like lunging and barking and they're going over threshold. So the fly cue is what you use when your dog is going over threshold. So if your dog is just like roaming around and you see a dead carcass and you go, leave it, come. Or you see another person and you don't know if they are afraid of dogs or not, you call your dog to you. The fly cue you use more if your dog's going over threshold. So barking, barking at the fence, barking at the door. So then it's stronger. And it's not necessarily coming to you. It's turning and going the other way of whatever it's barking at. So like if I use it at a front door, I will say retreat, and they turn and go the other way to another room where they get their gizzards. So it's not necessarily coming to me. It's moving the opposite direction of whatever they're barking at. And then they get their super high value treat that they never ever get. So I would maybe also use that if a dog is like chasing a car, or chasing something, if they're in that like prey drive mode and they're chasing, or they're going nuts at the fence or going nuts at the door, that's when I would use the flight cue. So even though right now you're going to use it a lot to train it, eventually you're only going to use it when it's like you need the dog to choose flight, like to turn and go the other way rather than react. Because it has to be strong enough. It's like we only get Thanksgiving once a year. So if you hear the word Thanksgiving, you think, oh my gosh, we get turkey. It's the only time we ever get turkey. That's what the flight cue has to mean to your dog. It's like, oh, when I hear retreat, I will do anything because I get gizzards. So it has to be that super high value treat. Whereas when I do a recall, I might just give my dogs boiled chicken or hot dogs. But if I do a fly cue, they get bacon, or now they get gizzards or some value that they never ever get. So hopefully that makes sense. Pity mix, 55 pounds. Yeah, probably mulch isn't going to hurt. Depends on how big it is, but it's, it's small enough that it can pass. But again, you don't want to use it if it's got chemicals on it. So then I wouldn't, want your dog to eat it. So yeah, Gloria, I'll come back and answer yours. So yeah, you can still use a key if your dog is distracted by something. I save the flight cue again for like so let's say you're out hiking and your dog starts barking at a porcupine and it's like barking, lunging at a porcupine. That's more than just being distracted. That's barking and going over threshold. So I'll give you kind of an example. I have a client who we're practicing recall with her dog, and we practice and then kind of out back. And we just teach the dog to come, sit, and watch. So that's her recall. If we're walking and she sees another dog, then she is so focused that she is like almost over threshold. And it doesn't matter what we say, we cannot get this dog's attention. It gets so hyper-focused on another dog that it's like deadlocked. Her owner could say, like, watch me, come front all day long. The dog's not going to do it. So that's when we want to teach like retreat. So the dog learns, it's kind of like a snap out of it. It's like, oh, I just heard Christmas. It's Christmas. Oh, I get presents. I get like super good treats. So it's stronger than just a recall. And it's stronger than just when your dog is distracted. It's when your dog is like going over threshold or is over threshold. Okay, Gloria, I have a dog that is very aggressive when she has her toys. When another dog comes toward her, she'll freak and attack. So there is a whole protocol that you can go through for resource guarding. The first thing we always do is environmental management. So if you know that your dog is a resource guarder, give her toys in a safe spot. So when I do like yak chews or bully sticks or turbo tendons, I separate my dogs. So one goes behind a baby gate, one goes in a crate, and one's out in the living room. And they get to enjoy it without having to worry about the other dog coming to take it. Because even though they get the exact same thing, they want what the other dog has. And so I just let them enjoy it without having to worry about that. And then they don't come out of their spot until either they're all done with their resource or they get bored with it, and then I pick them all up. And that way I don't ever have to worry about it. So if you know your dog resource guards toys, I would pick up all the toys and only give them to her in a safe spot where she can chew on it or enjoy it without having the other dog come up and threaten to take it. Now you can work on that by like, let's say I would tether your dog to a wall, like with an eye bolt or something. So something similar. I don't have an eye bolt here, but I have a mat right here, and I would do a mat and then put an eye bolt where you can tether your dog like to the wall and give your dog a high value reward, or do the toy or something. Then have somebody from a distance bring the other dog in, and just start at a distance to where your dog can just like look at the other dog and not feel threatened. And then when she sees it, the other dog's there, then you start to treat. It's like, oh, look, there's a dog right there. Treat, treat, treat. And you're rewarding her for being calm with the dog right there and not reacting. And then if she's good there, then you bring the dog in a little bit closer, like one step at a time. So it's a very gradual closing in of the distance. Then bring the dog a little bit closer. And it's like when there's a dog right here on a leash, then your dog treat, 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 treat. So good things happen when there's the dogs right there. And then at some point when you can get a little bit closer, you could walk the other dog by and toss treats to the dog with the toy. So it's like when this dog walks by, you get a treat. If the dog on the mat does anything like lip curl, do a growl, shows teeth, then I would back up, because now you're getting too close and your dog's giving a warning that it's like, you're getting too close. I don't want you to take my stuff. And it does take time. Like Jade, when I first brought Jade home, she was a resource guarder. And now she's been there long enough to know that the dogs aren't going to take her stuff. So like they can actually walk by her while she's eating. She had a bone the other day, and the two puppies were trying to get the bone, and she actually didn't even growl at them. Like she would just get up and move and go somewhere else. But then I took the puppies, separated them from her so she could enjoy her bone without having the puppies like trying to get it, if that makes sense. So you can work on a resource guarding protocol, but it basically, the easy way to say it is, good things happen with her when there's another dog present, and then you can slowly close in the distance. Make sure you're watching her body language though, and even sudden little like whale eye or lip curl, then you don't want to go any closer. But then you can start walking by, and it's like okay, when I walk this dog by on a leash, I'm going to give you a treat. And we walk on by. So she gets a treat for staying calm and just noticing the dog and not doing anything. So that's what I would do. Okay, Julie, I'm trying something new with the puppy so we can avoid fighting. When I got home from work, I usually let Ellie out first and then Dakota, but that didn't work. And yesterday I tried to do find it with them. So I had Ellie outside first, and then my son let out Dakota and didn't work. So today I let out Dakota first, but I took her outside for a short walk and came home to get Ellie and it seemed to work, no fighting. Until later in the day when I was showering, they started to fight over something. So I would trying to think. And when you let them out, I would always do it on leash. So since you're having fighting problems for a while, I would do crate and rotate. So like Ellie's crated and Dakota gets to go outside and go potty, go for a walk, whatever. And then bring Dakota. Dakota goes in a crate and then Ellie goes out. And then Ellie goes potty, goes on a walk, whatever. If you have two people, you can still do your parallel walks. And you can do like go hunt on your walks. But I would always keep the leashes on them. Then, if you have to go take a shower or something where you can't supervise them, they need to be crated. Or one needs to be crated in a room with the door closed and the other one can be out. So that, so like, let's say you go take a shower. So you put Ellie in the crate, put the crate in a room, close the door so that Dakota can't wander around and be like, haha, I'm out here and you're stuck in there. And I'm totally like adding my own words, but sometimes dogs can get like that barrier frustration, like I'm in here, you're out there. And we don't want like Dakota to go up to the kennel and like antagonize Ellie. So I would put Ellie in a crate in another room, let Dakota out. And then when you get out of the shower, then if you can supervise, then you can let them out. And if they're fighting over stuff, I would tether one to you. So, get a carabiner, clip one to your pants, so that they can't like fight over objects, or because dogs can resource guard many different things, couches, chairs, sleeping beds, food bowls, toys, treats, like people. So if they resource guard you, so like let's say, just as an example, let's say if Ellie resource guards you, don't want to tether her to you, because then if Dakota comes up, then Ellie could lash out at Dakota. If Dakota doesn't really resource guard you, then you could tether Dakota to you and then let Ellie kind of free. But then you're going to be able to manage them better. The other thing I would honestly do is condition them both to a muzzle, or if you know that one is starting it, condition that one to a muzzle, so that they can't hurt each other, but still they're practicing that behavior. So I would probably do the muzzle training, but then I would just keep them separated whenever you can't supervise. So just like I said, crate and rotate, or if you're going to take a shower, bring one in the bathroom with you, close the door, and let them lay down on the bathroom rug, and the other one's out. And do things like that, and really, really manage it. I would probably try to find a good behavior consultant in your area to help you with this, because it sounds like it's escalating to where you may need like somebody coming in home and helping. You could always fly me out to New York and I'll help you. Just kidding. As much as I'd love to go to New York, I have like too many animals to take care of. But yeah, go to CCPDT, IEE. I'm sure there's other ones. But if you go to their sites and put in your zip code, then all of the behavior consultants in your area will pop up. And you want somebody within, 5 miles or 10 miles or 15 miles. And see if you have somebody that can come in and actually see how you're set up. I would put some baby gates out so that the dogs, can be separated, or do separate crates, separate rooms, things like that, and try to manage your environment, and then slowly start to work on introducing the dogs. Okay, Travis, I've used every treat imaginable, so this will be hard to come up with the Flight Q treat. So what I would do is, you're using pretty high value treats. If it were me, I would save the beef heart or the chicken heart, save that for your Flight Q. And then use like the sausage or bacon or cheese for your recall or your leave it. That's what I would do. So because once your dog learns the Flight Q, you're hopefully not going to have to use it a ton. I would save either the chicken heart or the gizzards for the Flight Q, and then use like bacon, because bacon's still pretty high value. Use bacon for your recall. That's what I would do. Even though you've already used it, from here on out, only use it for the recall so that your dog associates that really good thing with just recall. It'd kind of be like if my mom said, we can't really afford turkey any other time other than Thanksgiving, so now you're only going to get it once a year. Like, it'd be the same thing. So, Travis, Mickey isn't more, as she sleeps on my bed and she has a bed on the main level. However, do you think the crate is a better idea even for sleeping? I mean, my dogs sleep with me. Like, they are allowed to sleep in bed. They have a dog bed on the ground. If they get too hot, they have a crate downstairs that I always leave the door open. And so they can go down in their crate whenever they want. In fact, Jade is like, this is my office. This is her crate. You can't see her in there, but the door's open and she just went in on her own and laid down. So she must be really pooped, because usually she lays on her bed and chews something. So I still like to crate, because I want my dogs to be used to a crate in case they ever have to go to the vet or go to get groomed. They're going to be in a crate. So I would still crate sometimes, and, have your dog get used to the crate, and then, practice leaving, coming back, things like that. But I don't see anything wrong with your dog sleeping with you. I sleep with 3 dogs. So, you don't have to put your dog in a crate at night. I do that with puppies, mainly so that they don't pee on the carpet, and it helps with potty training. It helps them learn to hold it longer. So when I have board and trains with me, we're usually doing crate training. So I do have them sleep in a crate at night, but once they get potty trained and stuff like that, then I'm fine with them sleeping in bed. Yeah, you wouldn't need to do that. Okay, so you have someone coming Saturday. That's perfect. Good. Keep me posted and let me know what he or she does, because I don't know everything. I don't profess to know everything. So I always like it when I can learn from other trainers. So if she's having you do stuff that I haven't thought of, I would love to know. Um, yeah, and Travis, I get it because I have a really good friend who's a trainer in Rhode Island, and I would love to go see her, but I can't right now. Last time I checked, they had a 2 week quarantine, and I cannot take 2 weeks off. Like I can't go be quarantined for 2 weeks. So I can't go see her. Also, I would have to take Jade, and they don't allow. They're really cracking down on this on the dogs that fly. So even though she's a service dog in training, she cannot fly until she's a full-fledged service dog. Anta will not allow pit bulls. So even though my service dog is a pit bull mix, they won't let her fly. So I've kind of boycotted Delta. I can't fly them anyway. If they don't allow my dog, then I'm not going to fly them. So there's 2 strikes against me, quarantine and I have a pit bull. So yes, I would love to come to New York as well. I've been once. My friend and I went over on buddy passes. It was awful riding on buddy pass because we got bumped. Going over and coming back, we had to go on 2 different flights. I think it's easier just to buy a ticket. It was my first time riding the subway. And then we had to walk, like with our luggage. Luckily, we didn't have a ton of luggage, but we had to walk like several blocks to our friend's house where we were staying because I guess everybody there like rides the subway and the buses. So she didn't have a car. So she couldn't come get us. So we had to do the subway thing and then walk in Manhattan to her place. And then we went for best friends, Strut Your Mutt. And honestly, I went because I wanted to meet the Rescue Inc. guys because I saw them on Dr. Phil and I love what they do. And I heard they were going to be there. So we decided to go do the Strut Your Mutt, and I wanted to meet Rescue Inc. And then they weren't even there. Something happened and they couldn't come. So I didn't get to meet them, but it was super cool. We got to meet, I love all the little like street festivals they have. And it was cool. It was a lot of fun. I did have a hard time with the humidity so that part was hard, but I would love to go again. And I live in a really small town. So for me, that was like mind blowing, like huge. So, but yeah, I would like to visit again sometime. And I told you last time, one of the owners of Pupford just moved to Manhattan. So he lives there now and he just works from home with computer and stuff. Okay, Mickey has the whole back seat of my car along with her harness seatbelt. The crate is too large. Yeah, 2 of my dogs are too big to ride in a crate in the car, so they just ride on the back seat. Jade's small enough, she can ride. The other 2 are really good about, they just lay in the back seat and they don't move. Jade is like a monkey, so she's like all over the car. So I do put her in a crate sometimes, or sometimes if she's tired out, I'll just like let her lay on the front seat. Oh, Mickey's training to be one too. Yeah, it is a shame. I've had 2 pit bull service dogs, mobility dogs, and they've both flown with me before, but now with the pit bull ban with Delta, I can't fly. But I had heard that the airlines came out and said that they can't discriminate between breeds. But then one of my clients just today looked and said that they don't allow pit bulls. And when Denver had their breed ban, we had to take a different flight when we were going to Virginia to see my brother. We had to take different flights that didn't take us through Denver, because I was actually told that even if I'm in an airport, they could confiscate my dog if I had a pit bull in the Denver airport. And I thought, I would like to see anybody try to take my dog, but it wasn't worth the risk to me. So we just flew different airlines, rerouted so we didn't have to go through Denver. It was a nightmare. So yeah, I just don't travel anymore. Oh, you're on Long Island. Cool. I've always wanted to see Long Island too. If all this crap ever goes away, I might have to like come visit so I can see Long Island. Is that where, do you ever watch Impractical Jokers? Freaking hilarious. But they're either from Long Island or Staten Island. I get the two confused because I'm not that familiar with New York, but I know that those three were like friends, and they're from one of the islands in New York, but they film a lot in New York, and oh my gosh, they are freaking hilarious. Yes, I think I have watched Dog Impossible once. Yeah, he states no bad dogs, only bad owners that teach. And that's right. That's exactly true. I've had 8 pit bulls now. 2 of them were rescued from dog fighting busts, and they were great dogs. Good with other dogs, good with people. I did have one pit bull that was really nervous around people, but that's because he was abused. He'd been, kicked and who knows what else. Like, he was really abused, so it wasn't his fault. And he would only he never bit anybody, but he would, well, actually he did bite me once, but he didn't even bite down. It was just like he put his mouth on me, but it didn't even leave marks, but it was just telling me like, I don't like what you're doing. So yeah, I believe that is totally true. Okay. Mickey wants to drive me places. Yeah. So now when I let Jade ride up front, she now likes to sit in that center console. Her butt slides off and is on my lap, which kind of makes it hard to drive sometimes. And a few times she's made the gear like go up to neutral. So then all of a sudden I'm not going anywhere. So sometimes I have to like hold the gear thing so she doesn't move it up. And sometimes I actually have to like pick her butt up and move her over a little bit. But she has this new position now where she likes to lay on there, and then she like slides over into my lap. It's funny. Oh, a lab Rottie. I don't think they ban Rotties, but I know at one time Rotties were the bad dogs, and then it was Dobermans, and then German Shepherds, and now it's Pit Bulls. I don't know that they could ever ban German Shepherds because they use them a lot for police work and search and rescue, and those guys fly. But yeah. I wish they would move to another breed so that they would leave my pit bulls alone. Oh, they're from Staten Island, so you do know who they are. There's some, I have never laughed so hard in my life. They are the funniest. If you guys have never watched Impractical Jokers and you want to just sit and laugh, watch them. It is one of the funniest things. I don't even really watch comedy shows because I don't really always think they're funny. Some of them I think they're stupid, but Impractical Jokers, it makes me laugh every single time. Especially when they're trying not to laugh, and you can tell they're trying not to laugh. Funny. But anyway, I don't want to get off on that. Okay. Oh. So, yeah. So in Canada, there are complaints of people out of their gate or throwing raw, dangerous meat. I have high anxiety if I have to leave her out in the yard. And that's another reason I want to train her to be a service dog. Yeah, I think I honestly think that there's dog fighting everywhere. There's dog fighting in Utah. Over in certain areas, it's very underground, um, but it's everywhere, and it makes me sick. Um, I actually, because I have pit bulls, and when I had Hallie, who was my Michael Vick rescue, she was one of the Michael Vick dogs. I couldn't tell anybody where I lived. I couldn't tell anybody that I had one of his dogs because their street value was so high. Um, when we would do public events or appearances or fundraisers, I always just said like what county I live in, but I would never like tell people exactly where I live. So I'm also kind of nervous about leaving my dogs outside. So usually when I'm not home, um, then I bring mine in. Maddie and Jade usually get crated only because they chew stuff up. Daphne, Daphne's not super social, and she's kind of afraid of people, so I don't think she'd run up to somebody. And she has a dog door, so if she's scared, she can just run in. Hi, Jade. Then if she's scared, she can just run in the house. So I don't leave my dogs out if I'm going to be gone a long time. We've actually had some dogs get stolen in our area, and just don't want to take that chance. So yeah, it's not worth it. And if one of my dogs got stolen, I would be a wreck, just wondering like, are they okay? What are they like? My mind would go to the worst possible thing. So yeah, I don't blame you. Um, this is why when I retire, I want to move and buy 20 acres out in the middle of nowhere where there's like nobody around, and I can just like live in peace and have my 10 dogs and not have to worry about anything. Right now at my house, it's been a crazy week. I have my 3 dogs, my cat, a board and train dog. I'm watching my friend's cat, and then I have my cousin's dog. And then come Friday, I'll have another board and train this weekend. And they're digging up my yard because I have a water leak, so they had to take some of the fences down. So now I have all these dogs, and I can't let them out in the yard just to go potty. So we have to go out and leash walk each one at a time. It's a nightmare. Like I don't even want to go home tonight. I want to just like sleep here in my office, not go home, not deal with it. But I have dogs and cats home that need medicine. Hopefully they have it fixed by the time I get home, because right now we don't even have any water. They had to shut the water off to do this. So yeah, it's kind of a nightmare. Oh yeah, you have to lock. So when I get out of my car, I always take my keys just in case. I don't trust Jade not to step on the lock button, because I had a dog do that once and I couldn't get back in my car. I went to run an application in to a friend, left my car running. My dog was in the car. My dog stepped on the button and locked me out because the keys were in the car and the car was running. So it was like I was on my way to work. It was early morning. I had to go in and like knock on the door and wake these people up and ask them to take me to my house to get my spare key. It was so embarrassing. So now, yes, I always take my keys with me, just in case. Okay. Nicole. Hi, Nicole. I didn't see you come on, so I'm gonna write your name down for the drawing. Fix my pen. Okay. Well, you guys have had some good questions tonight, and we haven't had a ton of people. That means y'all have better chances to win the drawing. We'll do the drawing after Couple questions. Nicole, around here, people are known to open gates to release small dogs and then pick them up down the street and use them for bait dogs. Yes, I have heard of that too, and that makes me sick. That's why I make it. I mean, I have locks on my gates, so I do have locks. But somebody could still climb the fence if they wanted. I just make it really, really hard, and then, like I said, I have the dog door. And I keep, Daphne's a little pit Frenchie mix, but it's still a dog they would use as a bait dog. So yeah, I just don't trust it. So it's so sad that yeah, pit bulls get targeted by their bite force. Yeah, so I'm not sure about trespass. I mean, it doesn't make sense that if somebody trespasses on your property or like comes in your house, you can shoot them. Like you have a right to defend yourself. But if your dog bites them, the dog gets put down. But if they're trespassing, that just doesn't make sense to me either. The other reason that pit bulls get targeted is because they're very loyal to their owners. So one thing we found with a lot of the dogs that were used for dog fighting is they were able to be rehomed in homes with other dogs. Like most of them lived with other dogs. A lot of them became therapy dogs. A few of like the grand champion fighters couldn't be around other dogs, but most of them just like, and Hallie loved other dogs. Like she was so good with other dogs. She would be afraid of people, but then she'd see a dog and her like tail would wag or butt would wiggle. But they are so loyal that they will do anything their owners ask them to do. So, yeah, that is sad as well. I have nightmares about that sometimes. It's awful. If you've ever watched Beethoven, that one scenario can happen and law enforcement uses their word over other. Yeah. Oh, it's been a long time since I've seen that show. I just because it's the breed that I have, I am really, really careful about, who I let. I mean, my dogs are friendly, so if somebody says, "Oh, your dog bit me," say, "Actually, my dogs were locked inside." So I have people come and do like lawn care and stuff like that, and when I know they're coming, my dogs are inside, so they can't even say anything. Like, no, my dog didn't do that because my dogs were inside. So they just get put up. Okay, looks like that's all. I'm gonna just go back and make sure that I didn't miss anything. And then we will do a drawing. And then if there's no questions, I will ready to go. And we'll be, oh, Jeff, if you're still on, where are you from? And I can enter you. Anita, I probably knew that you had a pity mix. I probably just forgot. Okay. Oh, Las Vegas. Okay. Okay, Travis, I just thought of a question. When loose leash walking, how do you know if people don't spray their yard with herbicide? Actually, you don't know. I know that when when they come to do my yard, like they spray for like dandelions and stuff, they stick a thing in the ground that says this treated by Sensky Lawn Services. So then people will know walking by that my lawn's been treated. The stuff they use, like I just have to keep my dogs off the back lawn for like 24 hours or until it dries, and then it's fine. But yeah, you don't always know. And I've had I've heard of clients whose dogs have gotten into like mouse poison or rat poison that's been put like in the yards. So that's another reason that I keep my dogs on leash. There are certain places where I let them off leash. So if we're like at the park or on the canal, they like to go down and swim, and there's nothing around there that other than porcupines and skunks, because that's where my dogs got coiled and sprayed. There is that, but I don't have to worry about like poison and stuff. So if I'm not sure about a lawn or a yard, then I just keep my dogs off leash. But yeah, you don't know if people spray, other than like some companies, like the one I use, they will put their thing in the lawn just to tell people that it's been treated. Oh yeah, Jeff. Yeah, you have the Jack Russell Terriers. Yep. I remembered you. I just didn't remember where you were from. I guess I could have looked from last week. Sometimes I do these from home and sometimes I do them here. So sometimes I don't have the same list as I did the week before, but usually I can just like look back. Okay, so let's do a drawing, and then if there's no more questions, then we can go. So Travis, if your dog ate 100 grams of dark chocolate is okay, she would be okay if she ate a tiny bit of grass. Yes. My dogs actually eat grass, and sometimes, and they've thrown it up, but I think they were like sick with something else anyway. But my dogs have eaten chocolate. I had a client whose dog ate a whole box of raisins. And those are supposedly toxic for dogs. And the vet actually told their dog to go to the emergency room, yada, yada, yada. They didn't go, and their dog was fine. So you just never know. I mean, I probably would go because it's not worth like having my dog die. But I remember when I worked at a vet, we had a dog that ate like a whole half a bowl of cinnamon roll dough. So there was dough with, it did have raisins in it and cinnamon and stuff like that. And the dog was fine. Like they decided not to go to the ER, and the dog was fine. And yes, our trainer, when we did search and rescue, our trainer told us that his dog jumped up on the counter and ate a whole plate of double fudge chocolate brownies and was fine. So I think it depends on the dog and stuff like that. Okay. So Travis, if your dog wants to sniff or walk on the grass, I mean, that's probably okay. I guess there's a chance that they can step on it and then lick their paws. But I think most of the chemicals that people use now they're starting to get to be more pet friendly. And what my guys tell me is that it just has to take time to dry for 24 hours, and then the dogs are fine. So I think you would be okay. And yes, grapes are a no-no as well. Okay, so I've got all these in. Tonight's winner is Kelly Jones from West Virginia. So congratulations, Kelly. And so Kelly, you are going to email hello@pupford.com. And then I am also going to email them and let them know that you're the winner. And you get a free bag of training treats. You can choose, let them know which kind you want. Chicken, beef liver, salmon. I use salmon the most. I also use rabbit. So congratulations. Okay, so I think that's all the questions tonight. Everybody have a great week, and I will see you next week. Hopefully next week I won't be sleep deprived, and I will have my board and trains gone home, my extra cat gone home. Hopefully my water leak will be fixed, and life will be good. So anyway, have a great week. We'll see you next week.